Better to have dreamed and failed than to have dreamed and not done it.
Yeah. Yep. That's kind of the story of why I'm doing this.
Why?
Well, so when...
Tell me your story.
Yeah. Okay, so... So when Jazz and I got married, she had just escaped from a really difficult family situation. And so she went out to Chicago, and then I graduated, and then went out and we got married. I got a job at the Fisher Nut packing factory. So if you had Fisher Nuts from 2014 to 2015 or so, I probably packed some of those nuts. But right next...
There's a fighting chance I did.
Yeah. So right next to the factory is Harvest Bible Chapel Elgin campus, where my brother-in-law worked as the radio editor. And I submitted an application for the children's video ministry editor. And I didn't have a lot of experience. I hadn't really worked at a church before, anything like that. But I had a 4-year degree, and I had a couple of funny videos that I had just done in college. So Josh was able to get that to Jennifer Abaticola, the kids director. And she was like, all right, this kid does not have the experience, but because of these videos, it's very clear that he can tell a story with video. So we're going to give him a chance. So I was working at a really good job that was probably going to, I would have been, started managing a line. I probably could have worked my way up, but it was killing me because it's just like, I'm just dumping nuts onto a conveyor belt for 10 hours a day. That's all I was doing. And that's good work. Not saying that that's, bad. If someone does that for a living, I totally respect you. It's just not what I'm called to. And so I was given 3 months to attempt video editing and learning the software, because I didn't really know the software. I'd never worked with Adobe Premiere Pro, After Effects, Audition, any of that stuff. So she's like, if you can figure out how to do this job in 3 months, we'll give you the job. And I worked there for 4 years. Nice. And it was some of the best time I ever had. I was able to create like 150 weekends of children's curriculum, so just so much fun. But we felt the Lord saying, your time there is done. And so we moved up here in 2019, the very beginning of 2019. I think it was January 5th is when we moved. So we moved up here. I looked for video work because I had spent 4 years doing video work. Couldn't find anything, so I got a job at
So you left without, you left because you were supposed to leave. You didn't have anywhere, you didn't leave to something.
No. Oh, we left.
Scary.
Yeah.
Scary.
Yeah. So we lived in my parents' basement for 2-3 months or something like that, as I was looking for work, as we were looking for where are we going to live. Couldn't find video work up here, and so I got a job at Arrowhead Printing as the mailing manager. And so I was in charge of putting addresses on bulk mail orders. So Amsoil magazines, Essentia, mailers, just all of that type of stuff. We have a family friend who has been working at the same sawmill job for 40 years. And he's done the same thing,
4 years or 40 years?
40. So 40 years. And he is one of the most loving, gracious. Jesus just radiates off of him, and he's done that job for 40 years. And I'm like, I don't understand that, but I feel like that's what I'm supposed to do now. I can't find video work. That's what I want to do. There's not a big mega church up here where I could jump into, and I'm not going to just be like, hey, I'm here, hire me, So I was resigning myself to working at Arrowhead Printing as the mailing manager. Again, just sitting at a machine for 8 to 10 hours a day, just putting stuff in, double checking, does it work? Yep. And then we found Salem, started attending Salem, and
that wasn't that long ago, was it?
So that was March 2019.
2019.
Mm-hmm. So we moved in January, found Salem around March.
So I'm trying to think of when I started watching videos, because I think the first videos I watched were not yours. There was just a couple out there that weren't yours, and then you came in. And you started doing video in 2021.
So
right?
2020, end of 2020. But at the beginning of the pandemic, I started volunteering my video work.
Okay.
So the very beginning of the pandemic, I was the video person. I did like everything Salem video related. So the beginning of the pandemic, we pre-recorded services. Stephen and I would stay up until 1 or 2 a.m. to finish. On Thursday, I would go to Arrowhead Printing to then do my job. And then eventually they started paying me on the weekends. Just, hey, you're doing our live streaming for us. Thank you so much. Here's a couple bucks, you know?
Okay.
And then I was doing that and I was just loving it. I got to do video stuff again, and I got to do video work for Jesus. I don't have a passion to do video work for, like a beer commercial or advertising for this or, whatever. I love doing work for Jesus. That's where my passion is. I went to a Bible college not knowing what I was going to do. I went to 4 years of a Bible college where they're like, we're going to graduate you with a major and a minor. And I'm like, I graduated with generals. Okay. Because I did youth ministry, pastoral, homiletics, missions, church polity. I did everything, but not one thing. So I didn't graduate with anything. I just graduated, hey, you have a Bible degree. Good job. But it's clear to me now that it's like, I'm a jack of all trades. And like with what I do, I need to know all of the different things. And I love it. I love doing this. And so in October...
See, it's good to know where you fit.
Yeah.
That's a blessing.
It is.
To know, like...
It is.
Why you are.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a struggle for a little bit, not knowing, like, okay, I just graduated with a 4-year degree, not knowing what I'm supposed to do. Who does that? Who graduates from college still not knowing what to do? I'm sure there's a lot of people, but like you normally graduate with some kind of clue. So yeah, knowing and coming to that realization of like, I'm not a pastor, I'm not like this one thing. I'm kind of like, where do you want to use me, Jesus? And so, yeah, so probably summer of 2020 at Arrowhead Printing, I'm like, I got to get out of here. I had an interview at Essentia. I had an interview with Amsoil, where I'm good friends with a production company, a video production company here, that were like, dude, you would be great at these positions. Do the interview, go home, and I get an email saying, hey, we're going with somebody else. Yeah. So it's like, I got this high, I think the interview went well, and it's like, no. What am I supposed to do? I hate this job that I'm in, but I feel like you just called me to stay at this job that I'm in. What am I supposed to do? And so Stephen and he took me out to September 5th is my birthday, and he took me out to the Mexican restaurant in Fitgers, and our families, and so we just enjoyed, and we started talking about like, hey, I'll be your custodian and I'll be your video guy. I'll scrub the toilets and then I'll do, and he's like, funny, that's good.
So were you kidding or were you serious?
I was kind of serious. Like, dude, I'll do it. I'll absolutely do it. I worked at a camp, during college. Like, I scrubbed so many toilets. I know how to clean a toilet. It's like, I don't mind cleaning, because the custodian had passed away, and so it's like they were without a custodian. So I was like, I'll do it, Steve. So I was kind of serious, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't think it's actually going to happen. So I was like, serious but joking. You know what I mean? And then he went to council, and I don't know what happened, but then he's like, here we are. And I've been working there since October of 2000. Oh, I think Jazz just read in her 5-year journal, I think it was 3 days ago, I started my first day at Salem, 3 years ago. Nice. So October, here we are. And yeah, so that's my story. Nice. Yeah, no, that's where we've been.
It's good to know where you fit. See, like I've been in a lot of different positions, not work-wise, like church-wise. Okay. Like I know, like I've been a deacon at a church. Okay. Like I've done things within the church, never paid. Right. Mm-hmm.
Sure.
I'm not paid. I'm not a paid
Okay.
church person.
Okay.
But I've done a lot of ministry in the church.
Yeah.
But where I fit, like, and that's mostly after like my work with Jim, the guy that I talked about.
Yeah.
I belong outside. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I belong at the table with the people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So to have clarity on like where you belong.
Yeah.
It's a blessing.
For sure.